Winds are howling over Tampa Bay as Hurricane Milton makes an approach into Sarasota County, spreading flooding rain and extremely strong wind gusts over a vast portion of the west central Florida peninsula. I'm First to Know Chief Meteorologist Casanova Nurse. I'm reporting from Tallahassee and our ABC 27 studio, but we are monitoring the landfall of Hurricane Milton. It's been 103 years since a major hurricane has hit the Tampa Bay region. There's been close calls, there's been tropical storms, there's been other hassles, but in over a century, it's been that long since a storm like this has come into the Bay Area. Official landfall will likely be declared within the next several minutes. So we're monitoring that because the overall eye is beginning to move over land in Sarasota County. But all the mess of the rain has been really across the Bay region. It's been far south of us. So this is not going to be something that just barrels up our way. It's not going to be that sort of thing here in the North Florida, South Georgia region. But there's been extreme rain and extreme wind. Wind gusts have been upwards of hurricane force in areas like St. Petersburg, over the bay waters as well. Some buoys getting in on wind gusts upwards of 74 miles per hour. And this is kind of reminiscent of what we had with Helene here in the Big Bend. You may recall when Helene was making landfall, it triggered an extreme wind warning, simply meaning there was going to be a zone of the region that had expected winds and gusts upwards of perhaps 115 miles per hour. That kind of extreme wind warning is still in effect for most of northern Manatee, most of Hillsborough, most of Pinellas County, and that is the heart of the Tampa Bay area. That warning covers about 3 million people in population around those regions. So frequent wind gusts around hurricane force. Steady winds have been around 45, 50, 55, 60 across these heavily populated areas. Power has been lost in many cases, and it continues to be a big hassle for portions of this area. So there's going to be continued issues when it comes to extreme rainfall. We've already had about 6 inches of rain on the west side of Hillsborough County, and that rain is going to come with those very strong winds that almost pushes the rain in a horizontal fashion. So there's going to be a lot of hassles, to say the least, a lot of inconveniences that this storm causes, even though it may not have that classic total hurricane look. It's definitely a hurricane, no doubt about that. But because of dry air that's been coming up into the circulation over the last 12 to 18 hours, it's kind of caused a little disruption. In fact, a big disruption is overall structure and circulation. So a lot of the strength has been building to the north and kind of spreading out across sections of the Tampa Bay area and heading towards the Nature Coast, while that most intense band kind of wraps around the inner eye wall there. But the eye itself is set to move onshore in the Sarasota County area. This is where the eye is. This is where the deepest rain is. This is where a lot of the dry air is. So that's why there's such a gap. It doesn't mean there's no wind or anything like this. Winds are coming onshore from Naples all the way up through the Venice area, and that's going to be the likely zone where we see the highest storm surge levels, perhaps upwards of 8 to 12 feet. If there's any saving grace for this within the Tampa region, the winds have been primarily east, northeast, north. So we have not seen a huge increase in the overall water levels around the Bay region. Tampa Bay is my home. That's where I grew up. That's where I went to school before I started working here in Tallahassee. So this has particular meaning to me and particular emphasis, because having something like this is very, very rare. And it definitely causes a lot of concern, not just for me, but I'm sure a lot of folks who may be watching us from here in the North Florida area. You may just happen to see our stream, and maybe folks who are still within this region who are just riding out the storm. Now, there's some scenes that are going on across various portions of west central Florida, one of which is in the Bradenton area, where the winds are still kicking at a pretty good clip. Wind gusts have been upwards of about 60, 70 miles per hour within that region near the coast of Manatee County and near the mouth of Tampa Bay. And in fact, recent wind gusts still are in the range of about Now, going over some live data here, preliminary data, about 56 to 83 miles per hour, depending on the points that you are looking at. There is definitely still a lot of wind force going on here. The trees are swaying pretty heftily, and there is definitely going to be the ongoing trend of wind-related effects with this system. And as that scene continues from Bradenton, I'm just going off of certain details that are just coming in from the National Hurricane Center, and it has declared a landfall at Siesta Key. So Hurricane Milton, a dangerous Category 3 hurricane, has made landfall. It is official. It is in the Siesta Key area near the Florida west coast. So we do have it already on land. Its peak winds are still being clocked at 120 miles per hour. It's about 5 miles west of Sarasota proper, but Siesta Key is the official landfall point. So that is where we see the eye of the storm going halfway over land, and we have that official landfall that has occurred. So it is now beginning its push over the landscape of west central Florida, and all the while it continues to create some very strong winds and some very heavy rain across portions of the Bay region. Not so much in the way of heavy rain for the landfall point and on the backside, but there's definitely that push, strong push that's been going on for hours of winds that will increase the water levels there. And I remember some earlier scenes from the Naples Pier of just the overall rush of water going underneath, sure results of the storm surge and the onshore winds that are occurring within that region. But landfall has occurred in Sarasota County. While the heftiest of the rain, the strongest of the winds, they continue to pummel areas from roughly Polk County through Pinellas County, and some of these backside winds will likely rotate around. So even though there may not be a whole lot of rain around Manatee and Sarasota where the landfall point is, there's going to likely be a little resurgence of some of that moisture and some of that heavier rain that crosses through. So pretty rough nights ahead for folks who are within the Tampa Bay region and really all along the I-4 corridor. So this batch of heavy rain, as it rotates around the center and maybe diminishes a bit on its south and western side, but that corridor of heavy rain will stretch right through Lakeland, Winter Haven, and into the Orlando metro area. And this will be a system that will still have considerably strong wind gusts all the while, all the way into the east side of the Florida Peninsula before it exits into the Atlantic. So there's going to be some strong tropical storm winds that are sustained in Orlando and occasional hurricane force gusts. That's going to be near certainty, maybe not to the same level of intensity as what we're seeing passing through Tampa, St. Petersburg, and beginning to wrap back around into the Bradenton area. But this is going to be a night, next several hours, of pretty intense weather for the central Florida Peninsula. Now, fortunate for us, this system is not coming our way, but we do have some of its side effects, especially when it comes to periods of showers. That's all they've really been today across our area, especially from 319 to the east, and right now a little more concentrated from, we'll say, the Perry area, Highway 221, up into the Withlacoochee River and towards the east. That's where we've had most of our rain. So it is in the areas that were affected by Hurricane Helene 2 weeks ago. And we even have the breeze, which is being helped in its overall steady flow by high pressure to our north. So that high and the low pressure, that is Milton, is driving our own breezes. Those shaded blue areas indicating wind advisories, which include some sections of South Georgia, simply meaning winds will be around 20 to 30 miles per hour sustained, and some gusts could be as high as 40. A formal tropical storm warning continues for Appalachia Bay, the immediate Big Bend coast, plus Taylor, Lafayette, and Suwannee counties. So we're still going to have at least some residual effects from this. I do believe the rain will be manageable. It's not going to cause flooding. I don't see the winds being a big issue, but of course, if there's some weakened trees or structures that are susceptible to breezes of around 40 miles per hour, quick gusts, that can certainly be a concern for some of those areas still recovering from what Helene did just a couple weeks ago. Some of those very strong wind gusts, preliminary data based on some observation points across the landfall zone and into the west central Florida area around the Tampa Bay region. Several reporting sites in the St. Petersburg area, especially right on the bay where Whitted Airport is. Onshore wind, 89-mile-per-hour gust. At the airport in Sarasota, recent gusts to 90 miles per hour. Storm Spotters has given a preliminary observation of a wind gust in Sarasota of above 110 miles per hour. So where we have that extreme wind warning, which didn't include Sarasota County, there's definitely still the ongoing effects of steady, strong winds, powers being lost in many portions of the Bay region, and those overall numbers continue to increase across that area. So already in Pinellas County, about 160,000 customers without power. Just about half an hour ago, we were in the 80,000 range. So with those strong winds as they are, we're losing power left and right across Pinellas County. In Hillsborough County, nearing 86,000. Pasco County, 54,000 without power. And in Manatee County, 66,000. So trying to do some quick math, that's about 250,000 customers without power just within that 4-county area. Now, we are not immune from power loss. We're seeing at least a few little spots within our own region with some power outages. In Leon County, most of these are within the 100 to 500 range when it comes to overall customers without power, but it is an indication of just how significant our own little breezes are. So there can be times where some folks around our region can lose power. We'll put some actual numbers to this as we do a little quick adjustment on the fly. We'll put some numbers to this and give you an idea. Yeah, about 200 in Leon, 200 in Taylor County, 100. So these are pretty limited numbers, about 1,000 to 3,500 though within Lowndes County. So even the breezes, as modest as they are for our area, we definitely still have the ongoing possibility of some gustier winds of our own and even some of those inconveniences with lost power. Probably not to the same duration or number as what we are seeing within west central Florida. But those winds will continue to come in from the north in our area. Very limited effect when it comes to any kind of tropical storm force winds. I don't see this being a huge issue for our area. But overnight, you can probably still hear some trees and leaves rustling around. And yeah, there can be a handful of folks who lose power. And the higher chance of that would likely be closest to where we have those stronger winds, and that would be in the I-75 corridor. So that is one local effect to keep in mind. The rain is going to be pretty manageable, as I said. I'd say maybe up to 2 inches if a band comes into the region just right. We're on the north side of a stalled front, which is forcing Milton to move to the east. So that front kind of shields us from the deepest moisture and the highest risk when it comes to any kind of flooding. But that's going to be something that's going to heavily hit the Florida Peninsula pretty decently over the next several hours as Hurricane Milton continues its move over the state of Florida. It is moving away from the bay gradually, and it will move across the west central Florida area over the next few hours. So we continue to monitor this off camera, or rather off screen, over the next couple of hours as it continues to make its trek along the I-4 corridor. We will certainly keep you updated on our social media, on our website, WTXL.tv. as well as a full update coming up during our newscast at 11 o'clock. We want to make sure that folks who may have come up this way to escape the effects of the storm are well connected to information. I know there are some Tampa stations that are still streaming and operational, and that's great. So you have that source, and we want to give you a little extra information as well as those who are local, not getting much of anything, but just curious about what's going on with Hurricane Milton now crossing over into the west central Florida Peninsula. I'm First to Know Chief Meteorologist Casanova Nurse. I appreciate you watching our stream. We'll keep you updated digitally up until 11 o'clock and beyond. And of course, as I mentioned, on our newscast at 11, we'll stream it here as well.